They say that imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Well, just like in F1, we are here at Qatar round 9 for ERC 100. We've got a full distance race coming up for you after this short qualifying session. My name is Casper. Welcome along to the 100. And after last night's race, well, I can't wait because from what I've seen, this is going to be a good one. Fuel limited from what I've been talking with a couple of drivers. The tyres are going to play a big factor as well. Track limits, as some people who've driven this track, can be a pain. So this is going to be good, even with just 12 drivers. Welcome along to the Lusail International Circuit. My name is Casper. I'm here with you for probably the next round about 2 hours, assuming that not very much happens, which is usually a lie because there's always something happening here. This is ERC. There's always something happening here. And it is a brand new track. Well, a new track for the drivers. Because, of course, this is the first time that this game has been this track has been in this game, and as per usual, MCL, who, if we've done the maths right, secured the manager's title last night with 3 rounds to go, after winning, I believe, every single one so far. So that is a pretty dominant display. We'll get into. There's a couple of bets that are going around the paddock as well. We'll keep you on track with that. But yes, first time this track's been in the game, so it's really the first track that we've been able to see anybody really take a stab at it. So Shaggy back in the Mercedes, as we know that he is at home with, as he mentioned it earlier today. Let's go on board with him for a lap as he goes into turn 1. It's a very, very long right-hander before going into another left-hander. It's a much more exaggerated section of Bahrain. That's the best way, I reckon, to put it. Got Rookie behind him as well. Rookie completing a lap in qualifying as well is pretty unusual. Up towards turn 4 and 5. Squaring it off there and into the hairpin at 6 is a 28-1 for the first sector. Rookie taking the long lap penalty loop, despite that being a MotoGP thing and not for F1. Into the long hairpin here at turn 7. Careful about running wide through there. 8 and then 9. Before we go into another hairpin at turn 10. Now it is really foot to the floor, balls to the wall, pedal to the metal, or however you want to say it, through the constant right-handers here at 11, 12, was it 12, 13, 14 even? There we are, and then through the left, down a gear, and then into the pit lane for Shaggy. So he's not completing this lap. What about Mike Steele? He's in the McLaren. He is coming up to the line. Now, the fastest race lap is a 23.1, which I'll go through later with some cool Casper facts, because Mike's not here tonight. It's a 22.7 as a benchmark. That's not too bad to start with. We've got Iconic coming through the start-finish straight up to the line now. So 122.4 beats him by just over 0.3 of a second. And here comes, that's Blunt Blade in the Red Bull, goes second in between the Alpine and the McLaren on 122.701. We look at TTM Jerry coming up to the hairpin here at 10. Through the left at 11. And then keeping it the throttle pinned, as you should. I don't understand, I don't know why people would want to not do that. It is a fastest middle sector here for Jerry. He's been doing quite well the recent few rounds. And track limits have triggered there for him on the exit of 15. So again, like I said, track limits can be a pain around here, as we've just seen, because there's a lot of curbs that are just really, really inviting to the drivers, because most of them are flat, because this track is known mostly for MotoGP. Here comes Minden. We've seen him pull wonders in the Red Bull before. It's a 22.711, so that time of Iconics looks to be actually pretty good overall. As we've got some cars fighting up towards the final corner. That's usually traffic, though. Here comes Wallace. Down a gear for that final right-hander. Before it goes into the left again, down a gear. And then up towards the final corner. And now it is foot to the floor. One of the longest straights on the calendar, I would imagine. Here comes Wallace. Not a particularly good lap. It's a 24-1. But I'm sure he can certainly improve, especially with the bet that is riding. It's between Rookie and this man here. And I believe there is some actual money involved this time instead of just a standard underpants bet. So we'll keep a tab on that. Here comes Pro Ricardo. First time I think I've seen him in a McLaren, and he's doing very well. It's a 1:21.8. Good run for the McLaren. So McLaren's 1 and 5 with 11.5 minutes yet to run. Let's see if there's anybody else going for a lap. Let's actually turn off telemetry. I think Mike's gone for another, because he does look set to be on pace. He's coming through the second sector shortly. He's 0.2 down, so he might be coming into the pits, but we'll see. And he's hit track limits, so he most likely will be. Yellow's in the second and third sector. That's for traffic from what it looks like. No major incidents as yet. I'm just reading the Discord, and it does look to be there a problem for Shaggy. Oh, hold on. Oh. How do I do that? MCL, I've just seen your message. How do I do that? Because I'm not sure. First time I've had that problem, so I'm not sure how to fix it. If you know how, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Watching Bird come through 5 and 6. Audio settings and turn off voice chat. Let's have a look. Ah, there we are. That might work. I hope it does. Watching Bird coming through the right-handers. Exo's retired from the session, so he's staying in. Well, he's going to be at the back. Because I think the voice chat audio setting only mutes the incoming, not the outgoing. Track limits hitting Bird there on exit the final corner. He's not going to be able to finish this next lap either. It's unfortunate there for the South African. Looking at Jerry coming through 12 and 13 and 14. Yeah, I'm not sure what that problem is, because it's the first time I've had it. So I'm not sure what the problem is, just so that everybody knows. For some reason, my voice is being broadcast through the in-game voice chat to the drivers. So I apologise if you're hearing me. So where's Shaggy? Shaggy is coming through turn 2 now. I was just looking through Discord earlier, and he said that he forgot to add his setup, so he's certainly going to be struggling in that Mercedes, which we've known that he loves, but it's a fastest first sector from what I can see. So maybe he's not struggling as much as he thought he was going to be. As he comes around the hairpin at turn 7. Through the kinks at 8 and 9. We're going to 10. Car that's parked. I thought that was a car that parked just on the side there. It's not a fastest middle sector, but it doesn't look to be a bad time either. He's going through the right-handers. Through 15. Ooh, moment there on the rear end for Shaggy. Around the final corner, up to the line. Now it's a quite long run to the line on here, so it's going to be interesting to see what time Shaggy can pump out. It's 23.4. That puts him in 7th of 8 drivers who've completed a lap so far. The only person who hasn't retired and hasn't completed a lap is this man, who I swear has been out about 3 times and not set a clean lap. So that's certainly going to be something for him to look to. Here comes Iconic. Doesn't look to be a time that's going to put him on pole position, but could be a better time regardless. Yes, it is. It's fastest final sector as well. Brings him closer to Pro Ricardo. But not by very much, by just around about a 10th. Which again, the 10th could be between 1st and 7th sometimes. But around here is a new track, everybody's still, you know, getting to grips with it. I think he's going for another lap. He's 4 tenths down. Not sure if he's going to be pushing this time around again, as we've got 6 minutes just over of this session left. So we've got Pro Ricardo with a 21.8 currently on pole position. Iconic, this man on your screen, behind him on the front row. It's an all Red Bull second row with Blunt Blade and Mitch Minden. Only separated by a 100th, and only 600ths behind that is Mike Steele and the other McLaren, currently in 5th place. Rookie and Wallace are 6th and 8th, only separated by a Shaggy who's struggling in his own Mercedes. And then you've got cars that haven't set a lap, 3 of which won't, simply because they've retired already. As we can just see Iconic really, well, using what's left on the tyres. Who's on an outlap now? Rookie. Rookie's not usually known for qualifying at all, really. However, recently we have seen him qualify, and regardless, he does usually spend much of the time at the back, as we have seen most of the time. The benefit of that is that he does finish consistently, and with the amended point system that we do have, it does really support drivers that finish. Because everybody who finishes gets points. So, as long as you finish the race, you get points. All 20 positions get points. 30 points goes to first place, and then 1 point goes to last. And then you also get an extra 2 points if you don't get a penalty, and then you obviously get the standard fastest lap point. 4 minutes left of this session. On board with Rookie, trying to better his time with a 1:23.1. Coming up to the first corner, braking to around about 4th gear. And then into turn 2, a lot of long tyre degrading, tyre battering corners to start the lap. As they head into turn 4 and 5. And he's up on his personal best time by just under 2 tenths. So if he can keep it going, he might be able to push himself up towards the upper end of the field. Currently he's in just around about the middle, as he comes through 8 and 9 up to turn 10, getting to the other side of the track. Through the long left at 11. He's up by 0.3 of a second. This, if he can keep it up, it could put him, well, right in the mix with the Red Bulls and the McLaren of Mike Steele, the Great Wall of Wallasey, as we like to call him. Through 15, down a gear, into 16, down a little bit more than 1. In fact, he's gone down 2. Now it really is foot to the floor. DRS wide open. Going to be an interesting strategic race today. He's not. He must have had a really poor final sector because he only improved his... I don't even think he improved his time, to be fair. Also, if you hear that a lot, I apologise. I think I have a cold or something. Oh, we've got 13 drivers now. We've got a latecomer in the form of Sierra, who might just about be able to quickly set a lap if he comes out. Around about now would be ideal for him. With 2 minutes of the session left to run. Most drivers are out on fresh laps, although Sierra might just be staying until the end, which, considering how far back he is in the garage, he might be. Actually, you know, he's going to try. He's going to try. He's got not very much time too. Although if he belts it, I reckon he'll be alright. Final flyers are coming in now, so pole position could change imminently. Pro Ricardo is staying in the pit lane. He's confident with a 21.8. Let's look at Shaggy, next person, well, the first person of the runners to finish, well, the first person of the final runners to be able to finish a lap as he comes through 4 and 5. Seen some intense battling round 4 and 5, even in the actual race, because remember, this isn't F1 are racing here this weekend, but it wouldn't be the first time that they'd be racing at Losail, because remember 2 years ago, I think they even substituted the Vietnam Grand Prix when that was happening. Remember when that was meant to happen? That was a long time. Well, 2020 feels like a long time ago. Up by half a second after 2 sectors. That could really put him in the mix for that second row. Very hotly contested. Less than a tenth between 3rd and 5th. Rookie's gone in the pit, so Heisey's going to be his 6th. Here comes Shaggy. He might be able to get another lap if he wants to. Pro Ricardo, well, he was in the pits anyway. Here comes Shaggy to 22.6. Puts him on the 3rd row. Sierra, oh, Sierra just missed it. Just missed it. So he's going to be starting at the very back. Got a couple drivers coming through. Here comes Gary. DRS wide open on the Red Bull. The Red Bull's good under DRS. It's going to be good to see what times he can do. Ups his time, puts him in 3rd ahead of Shaggy. 122.4. Behind him is the Williams of Wallace. No improvement there. Here comes Minden, 0.3 up on his personal best after 2 sectors, 6/10 after 3. So 22.0. Still nobody's getting close to that Pro Ricardo time. I think that was Mike Steele coming down the line. Iconics coming across the line, but it's an invalid lap. So that stays in 3rd place. Shaggy's not going for a lap. TTM Jerry is. He needs to set a lap to not start at the back. And it's a finally valid one for him. Let's see where he comes. Across the line, the Alfa Romeo puts him in 3rd place. Front of the 2nd row. Good run there for Jerry. Finally, you got a lap in at the death. And that is your qualifying session sorted. So Pro Ricardo in the McLaren on pole position, ahead of Minden and Jerry and Iconic in 4th place. It could be an interesting one. And the bet that I previously mentioned with Wallace and Rookie, well, they're 8th and 9th. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they start. As your qualifying results are on screen, and the drivers are going to be starting in that order. MCL at the back, as per usual. Pro Ricardo and Minden on the front row. Jerry and Iconic in third and fourth, with Blunt Blade, Mike Steele, Shaggy Wallace, and Rookie having completed a lap in that set order. And then Exo, Bird, and Sierra having actually not set a lap at all. Racing will commence in around about 5 minutes' time. So be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll go over constructor standings, facts, and little bits that I've picked up from the drivers earlier today in a second. Right, let's go over some facts around the track. So, 57 laps race for tonight with 5.419 kilometers per lap. Opened in 2004, the first actual F1 race was in 2021. However, it's not the first sort of top flight prototype race that there was, because remember, this is track, again, much more known for MotoGP. Opened in 2004. First race in 2004. They've been racing every year. In 2008, they converted to a night race. There was when they changed to a night race, they added lighting. That was the biggest outdoor sports lighting in 2007 when it was constructed for about 2 years, because then Yas Marina was built. So that was downgraded a couple of pegs. Renovations for the actual track this year include more capacity and better facilities. And again, like I said, MotoGP is what it's most known for. First race in 2004, won by Sete Gibernau, if anybody knows who that is. And currently the lap record in the race, at least for the previous iteration, because I believe they might have made a couple of slight differences to the track, is a 1:23.196 made by Max Verstappen in the race 2 years ago. Set to go racing in 3 minutes' time. So let's look at the standings. And the standings look as follows. MCL well ahead of Exo. MCL on 195, Exo on 139. That's about a 55-point gap. So not going to be able to be overcome this time around. However, Exo's been consistently in and around that top 10, so, you know, couple of races. We've only got 4 to go, but a couple of races and anything could happen. A couple of battles further down the field. Rookie and Bird, 3rd and 4th, 128 against 126. Minden is also in 5th, not very far off this battle, 121. And then 6th, 7th, and 8th, 118, 116, 112 with Shaggy Wallace and Dorsey Dave. Both Blunt Blade and Mike Steele are racing, and they're a point apart in 12th and 13th with 69 and 68 points respectively. TTM Jerry, having only completed 3 events so far, mind you, with a 5th, a 3rd, and a 2nd, puts him on 66 points, very close behind this pack as well. Is there anybody else here? Not particularly. And in terms of the team standings, teams have, well, we've got the tier teams, and we've also got the actual teams that drivers have made themselves. So, G-Spot Racing with MCL and Rookie are on 323. Fuck Off Risaka. Again, I'm probably butchering it, lads. With Bird and Exo, our resident South Africans, are in second, 265. Very close on their backs are the Dixon Slicks, with Minden and Wallace, 237. And then we have a draw on points, with FXPT, with Procado and Pasteleo, and Mysterious Wall of China Racing Team. Now, Wall of China Racing Team do have an advantage, because it's 2 against 1. So theoretically, it should be better to get points. However, Pro Ricardo does have pole position. He does have the advantage. Bald Overweight Eagle Racing with just Dorsey Dave. He's got his own team. are on 112, standing very strong by himself. Dinklefort's F1 with Adrenal and Iconic. Neither of them are racing tonight on 74. Billy's not here, but Bluntblade is representing VXR. They're on 69. And then Curtis and Sternface again. Neither of them are here, but they're in last place. They're called last place. They're on, as the French would say, nil point. And then in terms of the tier standings, it's pretty damn close overall. Tier 4 on 386, Tier 3 on 385, Tier 1 on 365, Tier 2 on 327, and then Tier 5 on 307. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how, especially the tier standings, it's going to be interesting to see how those are split up. For those that don't know, we have split the teams into the actual tiers. So in the actual performance tiers. So we split them up like that. Little bit of a delay because we're waiting for what Bird says, Mr. Esports, otherwise known as MCL. So we shall see. To anybody watching as well, be sure to follow the International Paddock Instagram and TikTok. I have started to throw stuff on there. I need to be a little bit more regular with that. However, hopefully, I can get back on that very soon. Just waiting for the race to start. It should be starting imminently. I think that's cars on the grid. I thought that was there for a brief moment. I heard the sound of engines and I thought that might be that. Now, what's also going to be important in the race is, I was talking with MCL earlier today, and I'll talk about that in a second. 5 lights on ahead of the drivers, 13,000 horsepower on the grid, and we are rolling here at Qatar. Looks to be a good start for Minden, as he's got the inside line heading into turn 1. A couple of battles further down the field, 4 abreast into turn 1 with the Red Bull and an Alpine and a McLaren. McLaren taking the inside, that is Mike Steele going for 4th place. Jerry trying to get up the inside of Gary in for 3rd. Iconic and Mike Steele side by side through turn 2 as they head through 3 up towards turn 4. Mike Steele does have the inside line, so should have the advantage. Does he use it? Yes, he does, but Iconic goes for the inside into turn 5. Steele hangs it around the outside. There's a reason he's called the Great Wall of Wallasey. Keeps the inside into 6 and is still side by side with Iconic and Mike Steele. Gary right behind these guys. Up the inside goes Iconic. There's a yellow flag earlier. I'll keep an eye out to see if anything's happened. It's still side by side for the whole lap pretty much. And Mike Steele just gets ahead, although Iconic sticks his front wing. But I don't think there's very much he can do at this point. As he goes up into turn 12, and Mike Steele is finally, officially ahead of Iconic after a brilliant battle on the first lap. So lap 1 of 57, and Qatar has already delivered. Pro Ricardo ahead of Minden and Jerry. They are still 1, 2 and 3, but there's this battle developing for 4th place. Iconic tries to pull to the inside. It doesn't go for it. Pulls to the outside, side by side, front wheel to rear wheel. Although not quite as far alongside to make a move. Although he goes outside of turn 1 and he spins! A little bit too much throttle. And that is a spin, and he's going to lose a whole load of positions for that one. Shaggy and Sierra are in the pit lane now as well, so front wing change for what is likely the pair of them, at least for Sierra. Not sure what's happened there. Must have been that lap 1 yellow flag. I look forward to this battle for 1st place. Well, it's more so a battle for 2nd at the moment, because Pro Ricardo's pulled away a little bit. but it's still very close within the realms of possibility. There's also battle for, I believe that is 6th. Yellow's in the first sector. That is for Sierra's had a spin on pit exit. What I was going to mention earlier was MCL was saying that fuel is going to be a problem simply because you use that much and the cars are just not going to be able to, what's the word, actually hold on to enough fuel to go the full distance. So fuel saving is essentially mandatory in the race at this point. Let's look at the battle for 6th place with Rookie, Bird and MCL. Bird going to the inside. Is MCL going to go to the outside? No, he's not quite close enough. Side by side, heading into turn 1, 2 abreast. He's got the inside, he's got the move. A little bit of battling further up in the field, but Rookie's still got the outside line contact there with front wing, and MCL goes up the inside of Bird, still side by side as they head through turn 3 up to turn 4. Got to be careful for Rookie ahead of him, and he pushes his way in, tries to defend, and he does so as he goes through turn 5, keeps the position. Oh, MCL! What a move on the rear end, and he's gone side by side, and he's got ahead of him. So it's a brilliant battle there for 7th place, mind you. A little bit of position swapping, but Gary's got ahead of Mike Steele as they head through turn 10. Third time of asking tonight. Brilliant race so far. I need to write that down. There we are. That's what I needed to write down. There we are. Heading into the final corner round, turn 16, starting lap 4 of 57. Mitch has got the fastest lap, although there is a move for the lead. He's gone inside into turn 1. DRS is now enabled, so passing is going to be made considerably easier, as seen by MCL. He's also got the inside into turn 1. It's side by side, or I thought it was for a brief moment there, with Bird and Rookie. It's a battle that I believe we've actually seen quite a few times over the course of this, well, not just this season, but the previous 9 seasons of ERC. Ooh, Bird gets very close there to the rear of MCL. Not quite close enough for a move, but he got very, very close to the back of that car. Getting a little bit sensual is Bird. Let's look back to the battle for the lead, on board with Jerry in 3rd place. The fastest middle sector for the Alfa Romeo, and Pro Ricardo is right on the back of Minden. He went a little bit wide, lost a little bit of time through the second of the right-handers. As they head through the final corner, it's going to be another move for the lead, I'm sure of it. DRS wide open on board with Pro Ricardo, and there's not really much that Mitch can do. And that's the move for the lead. Mitch is passed by the Portuguese of Pro Ricardo into turn 1 on lap 5. Here out of 57. So this is going to be a very interesting race. Bird ahead of Rookie, but Rookie's got up the inside of turn 1 to try and defend his move. Bird's keeping the inside through turn 2. Goes a little bit wide. Rookie's got the drive. Can he make a move into turn 4? Bird goes defensive, but no move is made from the Ferrari. Exo's very close to it, so Rookie is very much in a South African sandwich at the moment. It's good battles all across the field. I think Rookie's lost a little bit of ground there to the Williams of Bird ahead of him. But he's just gained that back. So all is well in the land of the midfield. But as we go up to the front, what was really only a 2-car battle now is a 3-car battle for first place. We head round the final corner, pit entry there on the inside of the final corner. On the renovated track, it'll be round the outside as far as I'm aware. Here goes Pro Ricardo, tries to defend. Minden to the outside. to the lead. Here he goes. Got the move done. Can Pro Ricardo outbrake him to defend? Yes, he can. He's giving it a go, giving it the inside. And all very close to contact there. Tries to hang around the outside, and he defends brilliantly. So the move is made. Pro Ricardo keeps first place. Can he make it into turn 4? No, not quite, not close enough. Careful for Jerry, careful for Gary. He's only 2 seconds back from this. The more these guys fight, the more obviously the closer Gary's going to get, and they're just going to be luring him in, and Gary's not one to slouch in terms of battles. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. A little update on people further down in the field. Sierra's half a minute down on Wallace. Shaggy, who had a problem with his setup, well, problem, he didn't actually add it on apparently, is at the back of the field in 15th place, as these guys head through 12, 13, and then the tightest of these 3 drop down gear. Into the final corner. Again, like I said, these drivers do have to be a little bit careful on fuel. They're certainly going to be saving. Right, battle. Lap 7. Here they go. Minden to the lead. Pro Ricardo tries to defend, but without DRS, there's not very much that he can do to try and defend. Although, again, we could be seeing him try to go up the inside of turn 1. No. So Pro Ricardo has been passed by Mitch. And he's got the lead as they head up towards turn 4. Down a little further back as with Mike Steele right in the back of MCL. MCL on those hard tyres. Everybody else on a set of mediums. Soft tyres aren't expected to last very long. And there is apparently a very high, very large cliff in terms of tyre performance. So once the cars do hit that cliff, then they're just going to go down like a stone. So tyre degradation is going to be very important. Jerry's got the inside of Pro Ricardo, the man who managed 36 laps on a set of soft tyres in Barcelona 7 days ago. He's got the move done into turn 10. Unfortunately, did not catch that one. However, I can imagine it was a stellar move regardless. And again, Gary's not very far behind this either. He's down to 1.3 seconds behind this plot. So he's not actually very far behind this. But here goes Jerry. Jerry, can he get the inside into turn 1? It's a long straight, but doesn't look quite long enough. Ooh, contact there. Mitch spins. Mitch spins. Contact with Pro Ricardo as well. These guys go 3 abreast. Mitch keeps the lead. Pro Ricardo's going to go up the inside. Yes, he does. So Pro Ricardo retakes the lead. Chaos and carnage here at Qatar. And again, they've just brought Gary into this. They don't want to do that. Well, Gary's just taking himself out of it a little bit because he's got a 3-second time penalty. He's got to be a little bit more careful. First person to get track limits 1 on lap 8. However, that was certainly very interesting move. Lap 8 of 57. These guys head through the 8 and 9 chicane. Pro Ricardo, Mitch Minden, Jerry, and Gary Bluntblade are all battling for first place. And believe me when I say there have just been fireworks. To anybody who is listening, all 3 of you, welcome along to ERC 100. If you're liking it, we get this pretty much every single week, and next week we're at Baku, the street circuit of, well, street circuit that always pretty much delivers, really. These guys head down the front stretch. Here goes Pro Ricardo, doesn't defend, but Minden goes up the inside into turn 1. He puts a nose in. He's getting a little bit more feisty than we've seen before. Possibly a little bit riled up by that contact at turn 1. But nevertheless, the move is made. Well, not made. These guys are closer than ever. I think it's 4 cars separated by a second. which is, well, that is some... I would love to see this in real life. However, regardless, we've got it here. Again, MCL's not far off this, and we've seen that MCL can very easily jet off if he can get to the front of the field, which is exactly what these guys don't want in order for him to keep the win. Through turn 11, they go through these constant right-handers. Tyres are tortured through this section because it's constant right-hander. There's not very much of a radius. As the Mitch, I thought he was going to try for it into 15. He's got the switchback heading into the final corner, and I reckon, is he going to have DRS? No, he's not. A little bit of a tactical move there from Pro Ricardo. I think that's going to give him the DRS as they head down the front stretch. Just about to go to double digits of laps. We're looking at Pro Ricardo. We're looking at Jerry going 3 wide. Can we get 4? Yes, we can. Who's going to take the lead into turn 1? Jerry's got the inside contact there with Pro Ricardo. Pro Ricardo's had a spin on the outside of turn 1. Induced there by Jerry. That's going to open the steward's door for the first time tonight. As he goes side by side with the Williams of Bird. They head up towards turn 4. Can he keep 7th place? I don't think he can. Bird's going up the inside. Is it going to be 2 moves with contact? No, he can't. Bird's actually usually pretty clean. And he makes that move cleanly. Pro Ricardo tries to retaliate into the hairpin. Bird hangs it around the outside. And they're still side by side as they head up towards turn 7. But Bird's got the inside line and he keeps that position. I thought Pro Ricardo was alongside again. So, cars battling 4 wide leads to penalties and steward room inquiries and further track limits penalties from people like Jerry and Iconic, who've just picked up penalties for multiple warnings. Let's assume track limits. Down the front stretch, they go for the 10th time in this race. A little bit further apart than they were before. But Gary's got the move on Jerry. Can Minden do it as well? He's getting very, very close. Those Red Bulls really look like they've got some pace on the straights. We know that we've seen that, you know, the Red Bulls are good under DRS. And they're pretty much good pretty much everywhere else. So it's not like it's going to be much of a comparison. Alas. The position has still been gained by Gary as they head through turn 7. No, turn 7? No, turn 6. This is turn 7. If you're just joining us, well, you've missed out on a lot already. Person who started on pole position, Pro Ricardo, had a contact with, I believe it was Jerry, heading into turn 1 about a lap, well, just under 2 laps ago. And that's put him in 8th place. We've got currently pretty much a 4-car battle for the lead once again. Because MCL, the championship leader by 55 points, has got very close to this battle. There's a lot of runoff, so it's not necessarily a massive problem. Pro Ricardo's got a time penalty for multiple warnings. Can Mitch get up the inside of Jerry? Jerry goes defensive as these guys go alongside. Mitch forces his front axle in there, but no speed there on the exit of the corner, so he stays in 3rd place. They head up towards turn 4 for the 12th time in this race. Oh, I thought Mitch was going to go for it up the inside of 4. I don't think they were quite close enough for that one. Iconic's got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And more details on the bets. Yellow's in the first sector. That looks to be for Iconic. Has he had a spin there on the exit of turn 5? Yes, he has. Update on the bet. It's between Rookie and Wallace. And it's £50 on who finished ahead at the end of the championship, which is in 3 weeks' time. So we'll keep you posted on that one. Jerry getting close to Gary. Is he going to be able to make the move? No, not quite close enough. And I've just opened the chat. Hello, Mike. I know you're listening. Enjoy your holiday. Battles further down the field. McLarens are getting involved with the Mercedes. The customer engines are getting involved with the actual manufacturer. Mike Steele's got ahead. Can Pro Ricardo do the same? As they stay side by side up towards turn 5. Almost 3 wide as they head in. But no. Exo succumbs the position. Doesn't fight it. And he's got the position. And Pro Ricardo gets 6th place after starting in pole position. Not particularly ideal. However, the comeback is coming. MCL happy to stay in 4th place, just ahead, well, not just ahead of these guys, but ahead of these guys. As we look back to the battle at the top of the field, 4 cars separated by just over 2 seconds, which is pretty spectacular overall. Into the final corner. Looking at Minden in 3rd place ahead of MCL behind him. He's getting very close to Jerry, however. Into turn 1, no move there. Beginnings of a DRS train, methinks. This is. However, we'll see what happens. We'll see when... There we are. That about? Oh well. Not sure what that was about, but Exo goes deep into turn 10. No, into turn 2 even, giving Bird the position. These guys are... in one party, so they would possibly have swapped positions tactically. However, we'll see. They are, of course, in a single team as well. Loving it, mate. 36 degrees. Black as Denzel Washington's left testicle. Thanks for that, Mike. Love you very much. Spin there for Iconic as well. Not the first one he's had tonight. And it's the same place that he had before on the exit of turn 5. So turn 5 isn't his friend at this point. Sierra's getting very close. Got to be careful for that one. Let's look at these guys. 4 cars separated by not very much, actually, as they head up towards turn 1. No moves made this time round. Let's look at this other battle where there are moves being made. McLarens on each other side by side. Pro Ricardo up the inside. Mike Steele tries to hang it round the outside, but he falls back into position. Doesn't fight his in-game teammate. And keeps 6th place. Especially because you've got to be careful for Bird, because the 2 South Africans are very close behind. And they're going to certainly want to pick up some additional points off of this, if they can. As Iconic goes into the pit lane. Is he pitting for a new set of tyres? No, he's not. He's pitting to retire. So the first retirement of this race, 15 off 57, in terms of laps. So we are down to 12 runners so far in this race. And may I say, what a very good race it has been so far. Packed with plenty of chaos, plenty of drama, and, you know, just a brilliant race. Jerry, as he got the wind in the LaSalles tonight, into turn 1. No, not quite close enough to make the move. I think that's the closest he's been for the past couple of laps. Right on the rear diffuser there. Careful for Iconic's retirement. Don't know why the game sent him out just like that. In fact, he just disappeared into a thin mist. Just there. As there's battles between the two McLarens through turn 2 on the inside of turn 3. Pro Ricardo defends. Can Mike Steele hang it around the outside of turn 4? No. Bird's getting very close. Can he do the over-under that we saw from Iconic earlier in the race? I believe. No, he can't. Bird's up the inside into turn 6. It can't make the move work there either. So it is 5, 6, 7, 8. Pro Ricardo, Mike Steele, Bird and Exo. These pair are splitting off a little bit from Mitch and MCL behind them. There's about an 8/10 gap between Mitch and Jerry, and then another second just under between MCL and Mitch. So they're splitting away a little bit, not by much, but, you know, a little bit extra, and that's DRS wiped out. They're going to lose a lot of time on board with Jerry. Lap 17 of 57. 41 yet to run inside of turn 1. Can't make it work. Not close enough. Minden's also very close behind this. 6 out of 12 runners have got penalties so far. So I don't think too many are going to be picking up the clean racing points. But we'll see what happens in, well, 40 odd laps time. Now, the big question, of course, is about pit strategies as well, because, again, I was talking with MCL earlier, and he was saying softs last night no longer than 5 laps. So, one would imagine, possibly around 8 to 10 is usually when they start dropping off again. And then where do the mediums, where do the hards start to drop off? Could they be next lap? Could they be in 10 laps time? We'll see what happens with the tyre wear, although this track does pretty well punish the tyres. There's a lot of high-speed corners. High speed, high downforce, high energy corners. As they head up towards turn 1. Jerry to the inside. He's got the lead. Can he keep the lead though? We've seen him make a couple of moments of contact, especially with drivers fighting for the lead. And he doesn't look to keep it through turn 3. Only 4 out of 20 from last night had clean racing points. So by that logic, we're probably looking at 2 or 3 maybe, if we're talking proportionally. And as we've seen, championships, most of the time, do go down to the wire. And scenario last season, I believe it was the managers. One of the managers' titles was decided by singular point. These offer 2, so, you know, again, like I said, it's an amended point system. However, it does reward drivers actually finishing the races. And with that, position, Pro Ricardo got a 3-second time penalty. Jerry's been passed by Gary. So Jerry is ahead of Gary, and Pro Ricardo's dropped a few positions as well. I'm not sure, it's a virtual safety car, and he's hit the wall. Must have had a spin there, or some form of contact on the exit of 15. As he comes into the pit lane. And you'd think that's possibly his race done. Rookie and Wallace are also now in the pit lane. Rookie considerably ahead of Wallace as they put a new front wing on Pro Ricardo. Guys are getting ready to go green, green, green any second now, and it's just gone. Is anybody going to have a good jump? No, they all reacted pretty well, pretty evenly across the board. Mitch got quite close to Jerry. But again, we've got this four-car battle sort of waning in and out and in and out. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how these guys take the next steps. Do they overtake? Do they not overtake? Do they sit in the back? What does MCL do? Because he's on a different tyre strategy. What does Jerry do? Jerry comes in the pit lane. So, Jerry's gone into the pits on lap 19, about to start lap 20. Didn't want to get passed by a Red Bull. I'm joking. So, it's a Red Bull 1-2. It's, well, isn't that something that we've seen in real life considerably too often? Well, actually, we've not seen it too often, have we? Because, as much as I hate to say, because I love the man, Checo's not been quite delivering. However, regardless, round turn 6 up towards turn 7 they go. Through 8 and 9. MCL is right on the back there of Mitch as they head through 11 into turn 12 on this 5.4 kilometre circuit, 3 and a bit miles. Round turn 15, very fast left-hander, you drop down a gear, and here we go. Let's see if the undercut has worked. Gary has come into the pit lane. Let's look at Jerry as he's coming round the right-handers now. It looks to be a medium something or other strategy. As Gary's put on another set of medium tyres. Here comes Jerry, here comes Gary. Gary's right on your right there, and he's got the move done. He's stayed ahead of Gary. So Gary, from the lead, comes down to 5th place, and Jerry has the net lead at this point in time. Sierra's got another penalty for track limits as Exo comes into the pit lane for a fresh set of soft tyres. Not expecting those to last particularly long. However, we'll see. Pro Ricardo 26.3 with a new fastest lap also on the soft tyre. As we have this battle for, well, what is at the moment first place, but what is, I reckon, net third? Once all the pit stops are handed in, MCL doesn't need to pit for another few laps. Mitch might. Because two of the other medium front runners, which were Jerry and Gary, they've pitted for a fresh set of soft mediums. And Minden is also on a fresh set of mediums. Movement at the back, at the very back. Shaggy's caught up to Sierra. Sierra hangs it, keeps it moving. Keeps the position. So battle for 11th at the very back of the grid. Lap 22 of 57. Some cars have pitted, some cars have not. Some cars don't really even need to pit until a couple of laps later. Minden ahead of MCL. Minden would probably want to pit soon. MCL? Not necessarily. He's on the hard tyre compared to Minden on the medium. Steele's got a penalty for track limits. Yellow's in the first sector. That is a McLaren that's had a spin. Which McLaren is it? It's Steel. It's had a moment there. Wow. That's not something we see often. Do either of the guys come into the pits? No. Could Mitch be pushing for a medium hard, I wonder? That could certainly be a viable strategy for the Red Bull man. Of course, MCL having won a lot of races so far this season, he's certainly going to want to add another one to the roster. Having won every single race in the managers, 3 in the 100. And then how many in the Sunday? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's won, what does that add up to? Quite a lot. Pro Ricardo's back ahead of Mike Steele. So after that spin through turn 3, Pro Ricardo is ahead of Mike Steele, but this is a battle for 8th place. So again, for someone like Pro Ricardo, who did start on pole position originally, this isn't exactly where he'd want to be. So, I thought they were side by side there as they head into turn 10, 2 abreast. Very close here between, that is Bird and X? No, Bird and Gary. So Bird's managed to get ahead of Gary. Gary clearly struggling on that new set of tyres. Let's look back at the battle for the lead. Not much is happening there. The battle for 4th place is raging. Gary's ahead of Bird, so it is Jerry and Gary, 3rd and 4th. These guys were both in the lead at any given point. It's going to be very interesting to see how and if these guys can close up. Pro Ricardo puts in another fastest lap, 26.0. I think that's 3 in a row, no? I'm pretty sure it is. Meanwhile, Bluntblade is pushing, well, not for his life, but he's pushing pretty hard. It's the fastest first sector. As these guys head through the right-handers into turn 15 and then up towards the final corner. Start lap 25 of 57. We're not even halfway, and there's still yet a lot more to be seen. MCL in the hat, getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Can he make the move? No, lifts a bit, saves a bit of fuel. He was saying earlier, when I was talking with him earlier this afternoon, that fuel saving is going to be absolutely crucial. Simply because the games don't hold enough fuel, at least for the man himself. So these guys are going to be saving a decent chunk of fuel and then hoping that it's going to be enough. Bird's gone into the pit lane. I wonder what tyres he's put on. I can't really see them from here. Not very useful. Let's do this instead. It's a fresh set of soft tyres. I've seen quite a few drivers pitting on that set of soft tyres, despite tyre wear being relatively high around here. You'd think that you'd want to avoid the mediums, considering how much you're gonna have to pit. But regardless, we'll see. Well, I'm actually interested. How many of these drivers have underfueled? I'm not sure any of them have. Apparently it says there's just about enough fuel, so maybe they've done enough fuel saving to go foot to the floor to the end. However, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We've still got, what is that, just over 30 laps? 32? Yeah. Oh, blimey. Sorry, I was just adjusting my position on my chair. In terms of the bet, remember there is actual money riding on some of these results now. I know that this man, Rookie and Wallace, they've put a 50 quid bet on. And I do believe there was some payment to Mitch to try and keep him safe. So that's another little bit of money that's been transferred. I mean, listen, rivalries are brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Don't know where I was going with that. But it's good to see that the drivers, you know, are willing to push themselves. They're willing to, you know, I want to do this. I want to get, in this case, get better than insert other player here. So it wouldn't be too... It's always good to see a little bit of rivalry. And we do have just some, you know, classic fights. I mean, drivers like Mike Steele and Wallace, we've seen a plethora of battles between those pair. Exo and Bird, they do quite a lot of fighting. And then MCL against everyone this season. Which he's pulled off a lot of brilliant moves, to be fair. So it would not surprise me if, you know, he is technically in a position to win all 3 championships. And in fact, as far as I know, if the Managers' Championship is actually sealed up, was sealed up last night, which I reckon it might have been, to be fair. He's going to stay out of managers for the rest of the season. In order to let some other people actually win. Which I do just simply want to say how ever so generous of him. Letting us say something other than MCL is your winner. Something other than MCL is your winner. That is that Mike Steele got ahead of Rookie Licenses battle for 7th place. Not too much of a point differential between them, but, you know, a position is a position, a point is a point, and Wallace ideally would not want this to happen very much. Let's see what's happening on Das Discord. Not very much at the moment. Alright. Let's jump back to these pair. We've only just, mind you, hit halfway, and it's a pretty decent race overall, so I'd love to see what happens next in this saga. Here goes MCL, first move for the lead, goes up the inside, and he's taking the lead here at lap 29 of 57. We're in Qatar, and he's conquered the lead from the back once again. Now, can he sustain it up towards turn 4? He looks to have. But then the next big test is going to be, can he keep it down the straight? If he can keep it down the straight and just fully belt it to the end, I don't think anybody else is going to see very much from the Haas. However, the other Haas at the very back, TTM Jerry's got another 3-second time penalty for track limits. Let's actually look who's got what. Jerry's got 12 seconds. That's a lot. Sierra has 9. Pro Ricardo and Mike Steele have got, and now Gary as well, have got 6 seconds each. And then MCL does have just the 3 seconds. However, one crucial point, MCL needs to pit. And he does. Which is a surprise, all things considered. Because there's still a couple of medium runners, right? That they've been there since the start. Well, it's only Mitch now. So it is going to be very interesting to see how far he can push these. Can he push these to the end, I wonder? Can he push them past 35? Because if he can push them past 35, he can very easily just run away with it. As he heads round turn 6, up towards the long right-hand hairpin at turn 7. For the 30th time of asking in this race so far. Let's turn that menu off. Everybody's spread out a little bit except for these pair, Bird and Rookie. Bird right on the diffuser of Rookie. Is he going to go up the inside at 6? No. Discretion the better part of Valet. Clearly keeping him in 8th place. However, he's still defending quite well. Was there a little bit of contact there? Possibly. Let's turn the time menu off. As they head up towards turn 10. Through the left, through the continuation of that left-hander at 11. And then into 12, into 13, down a gear, into 14. And into 15. This track, from a driving perspective, it looks amazing. As here we go, Mitch has pitted, finally. Lap 31 of 57. Things have calmed down a little bit. However, they're not all doom and gloom, as it were. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. TTM Jerry ahead of Blunt Blade. 1.6 seconds the difference is between the pair of them. MCL and EXO and Minden. Two of them have pitted. EXO, I don't believe, has. Right? No, everybody's stopped. Okay. Oh! Ooh, now, interesting. MCL has left the session. He did mention earlier that he might get kicked out quite a lot. It's going to be very interesting to see if he's going to be able to stay. I thought EXO was going to go for it up the inside. No. Keeps it pinned and doesn't really need to fight it purely because it's an AI. So EXO is back in on the podium. As they head round turn 1. MCL very close behind and Mitch even closer behind that. Clearly EXO does have a lot of pace in that Mercedes, but he's 20 seconds off the lead. I'm gonna be pessimistic here and say I'm not too sure he's gonna be able to take the lead. However, someone who's gonna be able to take a position is Minden around the outside of turn 7. Brilliant exit of turn 6, gets it done before 7, and MCL can't really fight it. That was a stellar move there from Minden. Exactly what he needs to try and claw his way back up to the top. And MCL is now back as well. So his AI has probably lost him a good 5 seconds or so. And now he's got to try and claw it back. The gap between the top pair is also, well, it's just dipped below a second. And in fact, he's getting even closer and closer. Well, I was about to say with every moment, but with every couple of corners, things are sort of waving in and out between a second and under a second, and then over and then under, and so on. Let's look further down. Mike Steele with Bird heading up towards turn 4. MCL's just put in chat, this game is so... I'm not even going to say it, this game is so crap. I mean, right, from what I've played, and if you've seen the 2 Sunday races that I've taken part in, I'm no esport player. I'm not very good, right? But in comparison to last year's, it is considerably better, purely because it just... It's hard to explain, it's just like feels right. I don't know, it feels better than the previous edition of the game, which was, well, not very particularly liked by most people. Mike Steele getting away there from Bird. Bird's closing up towards the back, a couple of 100 metres. Pardon me, but no. Can't get close enough for the move. Gap's around about half a second, in fact. Because of his final corner exit, he lost time down that straight instead of gaining it. Which, considering DRS is meant to give you pace, it's a very, very unusual scenario. Lap 35 of... Ooh, getting... Actually, now a 3-car battle. Sorry, I was trying to find my water bottle, but I cannot seem to find it. Might be in here. No. Alright. Let's look at Mike Steele, who's got 6th place by virtue of Procado pitting. MCL's got fastest, 25.5. New fastest lap for the Haas man. On board with Bird. He's actually getting closer this time instead of further away from the McLaren. And he's got that move done, so it is... He's not got that move done, so it is Mike Steele ahead of Bird. Shaggy has got a time penalty for, I assume, track limits. As these guys head through turn 5. 1,000 horsepower machines at play. Here at the playground, that is Lusail here at the Middle East. A new-ish track to Formula 1, raced once before. Hiatus in 2022 because of the World Cup. But now we're back. I think it's a 10-year contract as well, so we're going to be seeing quite a lot of this track to come. And I'll be honest, if we can get racing like this, not like that Bird, who's got a penalty there, if we can get something like the racing that we've had tonight, I will be very, very happy. As Mitch makes the move on Exo, that's battle for 3rd place as they head into turn 1, through turn 2, and then through the King Cat 3. And the move is secured. The gap between the top two is sort of wavering at just under a second. It's currently 1.2. Procado comes in the pit lane. Unfortunate run so far for the pole sitter. He's speeding in the pit lane as well, and he's gone into a DNF. We've seen that quite often, and that is really unfortunate because he was doing very well. He must have sustained some form of damage, because I wouldn't have thought that he'd be just leaving it like that. MCL has left the session once again, but he's not really very close to any driver that can overtake him, because the gap in between behind is, well, it's 10 seconds. So Mike Steele's going to get closer, but not close enough. Looking at Bird and Mike Steele, both of which have got penalties for track limits to varying degrees, and at the moment, you know, in terms of penalties, Minden's in a very good position because the top two do have a decent haul of them. Although I reckon should the flag go, I think the top two would swap places, and that would probably be it in terms of the podium. Mitch would stay third, although he would be a damn sight closer than he is currently. He doesn't really need to worry too much about the other cars as such, simply because he's got the penalties in his what's it called? Can't think of the name. What's happening? Chat's popped off. That's why. I'm done for tonight. Nice game. I did not only get kicked out the first time, he got floor damage. His AI gave him floor damage. That is possibly the worst luck that you could get. It's unfortunate because that's for MCL, because MCL was doing quite well, and then, you know, the AI happened, as is often the case. I've seen multiple times where the AI have pitted. James got a 3-second time penalty. That could switch up things at the top of the field. Go into that in a second. Is Bird going to go for a move inside of turn 1? No, not quite. So he keeps in 7th place. It's a brilliant battle. Moves aren't really being made. However, they are getting constantly closer and constantly closer to MCL. I don't even know if he's back or not at this point. From his pace, he doesn't look to be. And I don't think he is. Are they going to go 3 wide? No, Mike Steele hangs it around the outside to get the move done. Bird does the same. And they have spaced out a little bit. So Mike Steele and Bird, well, they've spaced out a little bit. 2/10 is the additional gap that was on top. But yes, as I mentioned, if Jerry gets an 18-second penalty, that's probably going to bump him down to 3rd, which, again, like I said, Minden's in a very, very good position on that front. Thought Bird was going to go in. Looked to be. No. But Mike Steele is, again, decent drive, and Bird's getting closer. He's getting closer to the back end of that McLaren. It's Williams versus McLaren. Age-old battle, 2 abreast, into turn 1, side by side. Mike Steele hangs it around the outside. No move there. He's going to go around the outside to try and consolidate the move. It's still 2 abreast through turn 2, and he's got the inside into 3. Confirming the move. Mike Steele tries to hang it round the outside of 4 to try and retaliate. Great Wall of Wallace is what we call him. But no, and then inside of turn 5, he's keeping the move. Steele's trying to go. No, he doesn't go around the outside of 6. So Bird back in 4th place. Decent battle there from these pair. Just under 20 to go. Jerry and Bluntblade first and second, but they are both ridden with lots of penalties. So that is likely to change post-race. Mitch is in 3rd, Bird is in 4th, Mike Steele in 5th with this battle that you're seeing on your screen now. MCL is in 6th, but hates his AI at the moment because A, he got kicked, and then B, his AI got him floor damage. Exo's in 7th, Rookie's in 8th, Sierra's in 9th, Wallace is in 10th, and Shaggy is in 11th. We've got 11 cars running, but only 10 people driving them. Mike Steele to the outside, and to get to 4th place, yes he does. Wants his car right in the middle of the corner, right where he wanted it to be, and keeps the position. Exo's got ahead of MCL. That is, of course, the AI MCL. And he's got that move sorted. Back to this battle for 4th place, which is realistically the closest battle that we have on track through turn 6. Wallace and Sierra are trading places, but that's purely because Sierra is in the pits, as are both Jerry and Gary, I believe that is. Yes, so both of the top 2 are pitting onto a fresh set of tyres. Jerry's pitting onto a set of softs. What's Gary going to pit onto, I wonder? I think that's a fresh set of softs as well. Now, we know Jerry can manage his tyres like a madman, especially after, again, may I remind you, 36 laps on a set of softs, and he was still cranking out times that were better than his medium stint at the start of the race. This man can manage tyres like a god. It's unfortunate that he's got the penalties. And especially because I reckon Mitch is, well, he's in a brilliant position, as is Exo. Because, again, once the penalties are factored in, Exo might be gaining a position, dependent on, you know, all the stuff that is going to happen. And these pair in 6th and 7th have also both pitted for a fresh set of softs. Brilliant battle here. Sierra's also got ahead of Wallace, but that's because Wallace has pitted. And remember, there is a 50 quid bet on Rookie against Wallace. So it is going to be very interesting to see, well, who's going to win? Who's going to have to pay the 50 quid? Because 50 quid is, well, I'm a student, so it's not... So it's a relatively substantial amount of cash to me, however. Might not necessarily be to them. Exo, new fastest lap, finally in the 24s. Remember, the fastest lap is a 23.1, set by Max Verstappen a couple of years ago. Thought Mike Steele was going to go for it into the final corner there. On board with him, he's got the drive. Brilliant speed from the McLaren. Sierra's left the session, and Mike Steele has got the move, so he's ahead into 6th place, at least for now. We should see what happens. They're going to be getting ahead of MCL as well, inside of turn 4. No, whoa there, careful Mike. Contact there with him again. Heading into turn 5. Into 6, round the outside. He's got the move done. Bird is blocked off. They're 3 abreast as they head through, side by side, into turn 7. Brilliant battle here between both Bird and Steel through 8, through 9. Outside line for Bird, inside for Steel. Steel succumbs to Bird. Bird in 5th. It's a brilliant battle here through the track. We've seen battles all over the track. Is Steel... Oh, I thought Steel was going to go up the inside of the right-handers. No, so Bird is in 5th. What lap is this? L43. There we go. Side by side with Mike Steele. He's making the move again into turn 1. And he's got that sorted. And the gap between Minden and Jerry, again, it's coming down. But, once penalties are factored in, it's not really going to be much of a battle. Because Jerry's got 18 seconds, Gary has 9. So they're not particularly going to be fighting for much, because it seems like, unless something drastic happens, which it could, I'm not saying that it won't, but hypothetically, it's only going to change unless something drastic happens. But these guys are getting very close. There's some drivers moving out of the way. On board with Gary, battle for 2nd place on the road. Gary's got right ahead of Jerry. I think Jerry might have even had DRS. No, I thought he would have had. He didn't. Gary goes fastest. This is a 24.398. New fastest lap of the race so far. And we've still got, what, 14 laps left to run, I think? Sierra is back in the race. Lap 44 of 57. We've got, what is it, 14 left to run, I reckon? I think so. It's a Red Bull 1-2, and considering penalties and all that sort of stuff, regardless of what happens, it's likely to stay a Red Bull 1-2. With Jerry in 3rd, maybe in 4th, if Exo can get any closer. Jerry does have the 18 seconds worth of penalties. Mike and Bird are, well, they're still clanging at each other, clawing at each other's cars in 5th and 6th. Rookie ahead of MCL and, crucially for himself, ahead of Wallace in 8th and 9th. And then it's Shaggy and Sierra who's just got back. This battle here between McLaren and Williams is a battle that we've seen many a time. There we are. I thought there would have been another type of camera angle, but no. Bird very close to the inside. I thought he was going to go for it into the final corner. And it would have made sense if he had, because he'd have DRS regardless, because the DRS is just before the pit lane entry. Here comes Bird. He's lifted a little bit, you know. He's not going for the move at the moment. Which, all things considered, is an unusual move, considering they're not teammates in game. And they're certainly not teammates in the teams. What's happened here to Jerry? Has Jerry got some front wing damage or something? Because he's losing a lot of time. Has he got some possible damage? I reckon he would do. Because he's lost a load of time. He's going really deep into the final corner. That is Shaggy unlapping himself on Jerry. How long has he had those softs? Those softs would still be fine, I reckon. I don't think the performance cliff is that severe. There's bound to be some other form of damage, whether it be underfloor or something else. But it's like having a Formula 2 car on track with Jerry at the moment. That is concerningly slow. Battle there for 5th place. Steele's finally got back ahead of Bird. There must have been a move from Bird made earlier on. Because he didn't get really close enough on the front stretch last time round. Well, he was close enough. He just lifted off the throttle to not make the move. But it does seem that Bird's got the better of him through the twisty sections. And then Mike Steele's got the advantage down the straights. And there's quite a lot of both, to be fair. So you could argue it's a bit of a mixed setup, sort of, because you've got the front stretch. You've got essentially from 2 to 4. You've got exit of 10. Exit of 14, pretty much. Because, yes, you have to drop a gear for turn 15. But other than that, you don't really have to do much. Bird going, well, going where the track limits aren't. Possibly incurring a track limits warning there. As we're hitting 11 to go in this race. I hope you've stayed with us for the duration. And in fact, something's happened. No, it's not something's happened. Gary's just closed up on his fresh set of softs compared to 16-lap-old hards. Minden. So, Gary's going to be able to make the move. And the question is, Gary has 9 seconds worth of penalty. He will have, assuming he makes the pass this time round, which isn't a guarantee. He has 10 laps to make the pass and make a gap. That's second a lap, let's assume. Right, give yourself an extra second buffer. That's a second a lap. And he's going for the move. He's got the move, so that is the lead. However, if the checkered flag were to go there and then, that would not be the case, simply because, again, like I said, oh, he's got 12 seconds, so he now needs more than a second a lap. That is, can he even do that, I wonder? It's going to be a very important question. He's certainly helped by the Haas there. That is that MCLAI? That is MCLAI. So the gap is 1.2. However, ideally, needs to be at least 12 seconds to be able to keep that first place. We'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, Jerry and Exo. Jerry's been dropping like a stone. I don't think he'll finish very high in this race overall. I'm not sure what's happened to Jerry. Because he's lost, well, too much time for it to be normal. It must be some form of like a rear wing damage or something other like that. Yeah, especially because Exo's got ahead. Without really too much of hassle as such. And then we've got this battle here on your screen with Mike Steele and Bird. Mike Steele does have 15 seconds worth of penalty. So again, he really is going to have to close up. Right, gap between Mitch and Gary is at 3 seconds. Just under, so, you know, it's working. He's getting closer to what he needs. However, the tyre drop-off is massive once he gets there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Wallace is now ahead of MCL's AI. So that is, well, MCL, I don't think he's going to be picking up any points regardless for this, because of the amount of time that was done under AI. However, the difference between Rookie and Wallace is only going to be 1 point, assuming they both get clean racing. Which looks to be the case. As we look on with Bird. I know the penalties aren't going to affect much, but it's a brilliant battle regardless. Through turn 10, through 11. Through these long right-handers. Let's actually have a look at tyres as well. Can Gary push those soft tyres to 15 plus laps? That is the question. And my answer to that is I'm not fully sure. All things considered, we've got about 10-ish minutes left to run here tonight. 10-ish? Yeah, 10-ish. About 125 lap, just over 10 minutes left to run, so don't go away. To everybody who's watching tonight, hope you've enjoyed yourself. And remember, we are coming up towards season finale territory. After tonight, we've got 3 more races. At Baku, at Austin, and at Mexico. All 3 top-notch tracks in terms of, well, chaos. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see who's going to come out on top. Well, who's going to come out second once all that is played through. Sierra's got a 3-second time penalty again for track limits. And, you know, Gary's gamble is working. Because the gap is, as Gary heads through turn 7 now, it's 5.5 seconds. So, you know, it's not particularly impossible. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but it might. Bird's getting closer into turn 1. No move there. Considered it, but he doesn't go for it, unfortunately. Would have been a brilliant dive bomb if he did, to be fair, though. Mike Steele's got another 3-second time penalty for track limits. I believe that pushes him up to 18 seconds. Let's have a look at that as well. Yes, it does, as does Jerry. So, if Bird's able to get past Mike's, yeah. I reckon Bird could pick up 4th here. If he can stay, you know, within a couple of seconds of Mike, I reckon Bird can easily pick up 4th. Which is going to be a very good result for him. And it's going to put him right behind his good friend Exo. Yellow's in the second sector, but that is for traffic. I believe that is for rookie for traffic. Because it's a Ferrari, so yes, it would be. And MCL AI has just been put to the back of the grid. He is last of the runners. So Shaggy is now finally ahead of somebody else on the grid. No, to be fair, I'm messing with you, Shaggy, but apparently, again, from what I've seen in the chat, apparently there was some problem with the, what's it called, with the setup and actually forgetting to add it onto the car, which isn't particularly ideal. So, you know, it's an unfortunate situation to be in. However, he's still making it work. The gap between Gary and Mitch is currently 7.2 seconds. Mitch goes through turn 2 and Gary goes up towards turn 4. So, you know, he's making it work somehow. I'm surprised how genuinely. Don't get me wrong, I love you, Gary, but I did not expect it on that old a tyre to be able to see you climb in that much time. Although now that I say that, the speed has stagnated slightly in terms of gap growth. I mean, if anything, he's sort of cemented himself second place. And let's see if he can try and get any closer to first. As we look on with this, well, it's sort of a battle that's calmed down a little bit of a truce at the moment with Mike and Bird. They're about 6/10 apart, so there's not really much of a move being made. However, again, anything can happen. We've seen plenty happen at ERC. So, I mean, we had 4 cars abreast earlier, around about lap 10, I believe. So, you know, if that can happen around here, anything can happen around here. Believe me, 54 of 57, 4 to go. Here, we're looking at the, well, sort of battle here between 5th and 6th place. Mike Steele and Bird. Ahead of them, Jerry. He's going to be dropping a couple of positions. Exo will not be because of penalties that are given to Jerry. And Bluntblade is currently on an absolute mission in order to try and get first place, considering his penalties. Although I think, you know, that tyre cliff that I've been constantly mentioned, I think he might have hit it. Because those tyres look pretty dull. They don't look... You'd want them ideally shiny. Neither of these guys' tyres are in the best kind of nick. There's a little bit of shine on there, but not very much. Starting lap 55 of 57. It's an 8-second gap. So he'd need, what, essentially 1.5 seconds, just under, try and get first place, which, against Mitch, it's a tough ask. The only sort of hope he has is if Mitch gets a penalty, and considering how meticulous Minden can be, I doubt that's going to happen. Coming through turn 6. Remember, we do have the International Paddock Instagram, where I will be throwing a highlight or two of this race up there shortly. We also have a TikTok as well. An International Paddock TikTok, which reminds me I need to try and get a profile picture for those. So be sure to check those out in your spare time when you can. As we look at Gary coming through turn 12, 13 and 14. The gap's 8.5. Not the speed, no, not the speed. Not the gap differential. That's the word I was looking for. That I'd have been expecting. The difference only increased by about 8 tenths. So now he'd need more than 1.5 seconds. And that is, again, another very, very big ask for him. But, you know, the gap has opened up again to about 9.2. So if anything, it's going to be very, very, very closely fought. But we'll see. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Mike Steele's got another 3-second time penalty. So we've got 3 drivers currently sitting on 21 seconds worth of penalties. I think that's the most I've ever seen. And I think that is... Is that Mike Steele going wide? No, that was Jerry going deep into the final corner. So Jerry's lost another couple of positions. So he's going to be staying in 6th. Unless he can try and make the move on Mike Steele, possibly for net 5th once penalties are factored in. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that. In fact, he's lost a little bit of time there, so nah, he's not really close enough. back to the top, it's 9.2. And Gary's coming across the line imminently to start the final lap. It was a big ask in the first place. So the fact that he's managed to pull out 9 seconds is pretty stellar in itself. However, coming round the first corner for the final time in this race, remember we do have the Sunday race, which is 8 o'clock on the Sunday. Coming through turn 3, up towards turn 4. Good run through 4 and 5. Again, he's opening up the gap, but it's not by anywhere remotely near enough to try and consolidate that first place. Let's look back down towards this Wallace against rookie battle. Rookie in 7th, Wallace in 8th. There is now a championship bet between these guys who can finish higher. Winner gets 50 quid off the loser. We'll keep an eye on that because Wallace is getting very, very close. And in fact, that has cemented the loss there for Gary. He's got another 3 seconds time penalty. Round the final corner goes Gary. And it's a day of really what could have been 5 sets of time track limits penalties. Gary crosses the line to finish first, but Mitch has won the war. Minden wins here at ERC 100 once the penalties are factored in, and there's quite a few, so it'll take a little bit of time for it to all go through. Here comes Rookie and Wallace finishing a lap down. So these guys did 56 laps. Yale's in the 3rd sector, although they've just been taken out. So Rookie's gaining an additional point on Wallace, although again it is simply just a point. Mike Steele coming across the line. Can Bird make the move? Doesn't really matter because once penalties are factored in, Bird's got the move done, and then Jerry stays in 6th. I'm not sure what happened to Jerry there, to be fair, because that was a large drop of pace there from Jerry, finishing in 6th. What are we saying? Driver of the day, EXO. Yeah, EXO was very quiet throughout that race. He certainly made a good couple of moves. Although, from my point of view, I'd say possibly Mitch, purely because he won without he got without penalties, and he kept it quiet. He got the job done. So possibly both Mitch and EXO on that one. But your results are on screen now. Mitch ahead of Gary, ahead of EXO is your podium. I will be back in 2 weeks' time because I'm going home for a little bit of time, so I will not be here for Baku, but for the final 2 races, I will be. Be sure to tune in on Sunday, where we've got another 29 laps of finding out who's going to have the wind in the LaSalle as such. And then we've got Baku in 7 days' time. So be sure to stay tuned and keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, it's a goodbye from me, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll all see you soon. Bye-bye.